This is the Weather Xtreme video for Sunday, March the 28th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters, and it looks like we're going to have an interesting day, and it looks like it's going to pan out a lot like we talked about yesterday. Let's get right to some Skycam images this morning. How about Tuscaloosa? A few little water droplets on the lens down there, as we've seen some little patchy areas of some light rain move through. We see a little bit of drops on the lens down at Demopolis, too, as we continue to look at a river that's rather full. And Mount Cheaha, can't see a whole lot up there at all. They're in the clouds, and so just kind of a cloudy day, and we'll see some patchy sunshine during the afternoon. Surface map this morning shows surface low, kind of in the I don't know, what I would call the Mid-South area there, West Tennessee, South East Missouri, and Western Kentucky, Southern Illinois, and with a cold front trailing back into Louisiana and coastal Texas. In the upper atmosphere, we're looking at that strong trough that is moving through the flow, and that will be going by us over the next 24 hours or so. Temperatures across the eastern third of the country, the eastern half of the country actually, are quite mild for this morning. Look at that. You got to go all the way up to New England pretty much to get into freezing temperatures in the eastern part of the country. Still pretty chilly in the central Rockies. Around here, though, temperatures are very mild. We're a little bit above where we ought to be for this time of year for our lows. You notice Tuscaloosa 61. That's just unheard of here in March. But temperatures range from 53 over along the Alabama-Georgia border to that 61 at Tuscaloosa. And it does look like we'll be a little cooler today with some showers. And radar, you can see that we have a little cluster or a little area of rain moving through middle Tennessee primarily, but that does reach down into the Tennessee River Valley. And it looks like we've still got some more showers back in the eastern part of Mississippi. But it looks like the main concentration of potential weather for severe weather is going to be over in Georgia. Not much on the watch warning map this morning, although they are bracing for this storm up in the mid-Atlantic states up into New England with coastal flood watches as well as flash flood watches. On the QPF, just like yesterday we told you, it looks like the primary rainfall is going to be somewhat light. That is on the order of 1/4 to 1/2 inch for most locations. Storm Prediction Center outlooking a fairly large area of that includes parts of North Carolina, almost all of South Carolina, almost all of Georgia. It also includes the southern 2/3 of the Florida Peninsula and just a tiny bit of extreme east central Alabama. We're going to talk a little more about that. All right, let's get right to the 06 GFS. Here is the surface map for 1 o'clock today. Remember, 18Z is now on daylight savings time, is now 1 o'clock. And you can see the surface low moves up into Kentucky and Ohio. But here's part of the problem. This is the sounding from last night. Now, the current sounding is being taken right now, but we won't have that for another hour or two. So you can see that one of the issues, we talked about this yesterday, is that it's very dry. And, of course, we've got a heck of an inversion there around 800 millibars. But the dryness means we're not going to see a lot of deep layer moisture. Now, let's take a look at the GFS and some forecast elements. These are dew points around 3 o'clock today, and you can see that much of the moisture is actually confined to the southern half of Alabama and Georgia, but by 0Z, by 7 p.m., you can see that most of that moisture, represented by the dew points, is really into Georgia and up into the Carolinas. Now, if we look at some of the instability charts, the Cape, this is for 0Z from the GFS, and once again, that is not really that spectacular. The NAM was a little more aggressive with the Cape, still not huge values. These the greens are over 750. So certainly some instability over there. And then as looking at lifted index, also for 0Z off the NAM, on the order of, it looks like about -4 to -6 over southwest Georgia, extreme southeastern Alabama at 0Z. So it looks like the primary threat is going to be over in Georgia, but we'll have to watch for development, especially as thunderstorms get to the east of I-65. Now, by Monday, the trough moves by us, and that should pretty much sweep the bulk of any significant precipitation out into the Atlantic. But notice the GFS has got a large area painted of some precipitation in Kentucky and the eastern half of Tennessee. So we'll see some clouds and perhaps a few sprinkles, that sort of thing. But it looks like we should be clearing out. Tuesday, we dry out for sure as we come under surface high pressure. The surface high remains with us on Wednesday, and you see temperatures are very warm as we look at those thickness values there. By Thursday, we're still under that ridge, but now here comes a pretty strong trough coming in off the Pacific onto the west coast. But we're still under high. So from Tuesday through the end of the week, it looks like we're going to be dry. The ridge holds pretty strong, but it's not going to hold as strong as it was looking like yesterday. So this is Friday. And then at the surface, the high still positioned just off of Jacksonville. We're seeing a surface low develop out in Texas, New Mexico area. On Saturday, that little trough begins to close off over Texas. But the ridge is holding tough, so it's going to keep it away from us. So it looks like Saturday right now will be dry, perhaps maybe late Saturday into early Sunday. And then finally on Sunday, we see that closed low migrating slowly eastward and weakening somewhat, but not especially fast. And then at the surface, we see that the rain finally approaches us. But once again, there seems to be a limit to the amount of moisture. So it looks like we're going to, after our round of storms today, we'll be dry for most of the upcoming 6 days or so. Now, out into voodoo country, this is the 8th of February. We have a rather broad trough over the eastern half of the country, and that underneath that is a surface low that heads up into Canada, and of course some pretty chilly temperatures. Notice the 540 line dipping down all the way into northern Arkansas. And then finally out at the end of the period, we're pretty much under a weak ridge on the 12th of April, and that translates to some dry weather for us. So right now, things still looking somewhat benign. Well, thanks for tuning into the Weather Extreme video. James Spann will be back at the job tomorrow morning. In the meantime, I hope that you have a great Sunday and Godspeed.
Each day there are new stories to tell about the people who live here and the place we call home.
All of the faces that I see, all of the places close to me, they're all part of all the best things about home.
Sharing your stories on ABC 3340, Alabama's news leader.